God, we ask your blessing now upon this time. Move among us. Help us to hear your word and your message this day. We pray in your Son's name. Amen. So this is actually the second time I've done a sermon series based upon Broadway musicals. And the first time I was in Iowa at my last call. When I was there was one show that had to be on the list. The Music Man is a quintessential Iowa musical, written by an Iowan, set in Iowa, capturing all the quirks of Iowa, and beloved by Iowans. There was no way to do a sermon series preached in Iowa about musicals and not preach on The Music Man. And so I did. As I began to put together the list for this sermon series, I wanted to find the equivalent for Indiana. What was the quintessential Indiana musical that is known and beloved by Hoosiers all across the state? And I couldn't find one. I tried really hard. That's how I learned that, for instance, the director of the movie West Side Story is from Indiana. I did lots of searches. I did Google searches. I sent emails. I put stuff on Facebook. The nearest I could come, and 3 different people recommended it to me in separate conversations, was the one this morning, called The Prom, which is set in a fictional small town in Indiana. As I looked at the show and listened to its soundtrack and pondered its themes and messages, I began to think that eventually the prom reminds me of the kingdom of God, about the vision of that kingdom we see in Revelation. See, the prom has a moment in it that is very much like paradise. Of course it does, it's in Indiana. But that moment of paradise in the prom reminds me what we're all called to do as a church, as we strive towards the kingdom, toward the vision set forth in Revelation. But let me back up. And fair warning here, the prom's not even been on tour yet. It was on the Tonys this past June. It's only been performed in New York City and Atlanta. So I assume that most people here have not seen it. And so I'll give a plentiful amount of spoilers so you aren't lost. I'll try and hold some things back, but there'll be a lot of more story than I might otherwise have given because I don't want you to be lost because you don't know what's going on. As I said, the prom is set in a fictional small town in Indiana. I swear to you, at some point in the script it was called Heaven, but Wikipedia says otherwise. I could be wrong. But as the show begins, the small town is anything but heaven, anything but the paradise of Revelation. Emma, a high school student, has asked permission to bring her girlfriend to the prom as her date. And the PTO has denied the request. And then, after the high school principal points out that doing so might violate several civil rights laws and leave them open for a lawsuit, decides to cancel the prom to avoid Emma bringing her date. Meanwhile, in New York City, 2 fading Broadway stars keep having flops. And they decide what they need to have a successful Broadway hit is some good publicity. They need to go and show what a caring people they are. And then Emma, they find the right target. Cause. They decide they will go to Indiana and help Emma get her prom back. It shouldn't come as a surprise to tell you that it doesn't really go well. Self-serving do-gooding, and that's definitely the case with these fading Broadway stars, doesn't often go well. For one, they're not very good at it. They're really pretty terrible, even at accomplishing their own cause. And 2, well, y'all live in small town Indiana. Just imagine what would happen here if a bunch of New York Broadway stars came to a PTO meeting to tell the PTO what they should do. It goes about that badly. Now there are some pieces that won't spoil the story, but suffice to say, at the end of Act 1, everyone's activism and efforts have made matters worse. That's true of the good-hearted ones, like the high school principal, the selfish ones, pretty much all the Broadway stars, and even the heartbreaking ones, and that's Emma. If you want to have a heartbreaking song, listen to the Act 1 song, I Just Want to Dance With You, as Emma sings to her girlfriend what she's really trying to do. It's, in my opinion, the emotional high point of the entire first act. I hope you're also not surprised to learn that by the end of the show, things are better. After all, this is a Broadway show, and I told you all the depressing shows ended in July. By the end of the show, things have turned around. The selfish Broadway stars have learned both some humility and a little bit how to actually care for others and not just themselves. The townspeople, especially the teenagers, have had a change of heart. Emma's girlfriend, Alyssa, has come out and been accepted by her own very conservative mother, who happens to be the PTO president, the one who canceled the prom. That's the way shows work sometimes. And thanks to a little New York magic and a very generous credit card limit by one of the Broadway stars, the prom is back on. And in fact, it's better than ever, because now it is a prom for everyone. Everyone in Emma's town is invited, and all of those across the Midwest, at least those in driving distance, who have felt excluded from their own proms for whatever reason, all can come and be welcomed. All can come and just dance. All can come because Emma, her town, and her friends have built a prom for everyone. And that's where I think I see the kingdom of God, where I see a paradise moment breaking forth in this show. Because I can think of no greater image for what the kingdom might look like than a place where all peoples can come and be welcomed. A place where all peoples can come and know the love of God. A place where all people can come and know that they belong. A place, in short, for everyone. This feels to me what the author of Revelation was imagining when he wrote about the new heaven and the new earth. We heard it just now. The new heaven and the new earth come down, and so many things have passed away. Hatred, fear of one another, misunderstandings, divisions. And instead, in that new Jerusalem, all the nations of the earth come together. And the glory of the God leads the gates to be opened for all to come in who wish to come in. We might miss that if you don't read that carefully. It's a very small part of the text and part of a larger book that sometimes can be a little bit exclusionary. But in this passage, in this pericope of Revelation, all the nations of the earth come together to celebrate God, God's justice, righteousness, and shalom, God's love and peace, God's care for all humankind. It's a glorious vision, one that's compelling, and one that I think the musical The Prom helps us to imagine. But the musical also helps us to imagine the work we have to do between now and that time to come in God's eternity. And that's this. To look at all the spaces and places in our own lives and ask if they are as welcoming as they can be. That begins right here, in this worship space, in this community of faith. We look at ourselves as a gathered body, as a church, as the Church Universal, that it extends elsewhere to all parts of our lives, a group of friends, our workplaces, our baseball and softball teams, our recreational clubs, from the ones the youth do like 4-H and Scouts to the ones we adults do like the Lions, the Eagles, the Rotary, and so much more. Each of them ought to be a place where all can feel welcome, where all can come no matter what and be loved and embraced just as they are, where they can come and be their fullest selves, and so to enrich us all and all the communities we're a part of. So I invite us to ask ourselves how we might make all these places feel welcoming to all. And if they do, will the stranger, the one who's new to town, or the one trying our community out for the first time, be it this church or the ones in our other lives, will they feel welcome? And if the answer is no, then how do we change as individuals and as a group, as a system, to make that welcome happen? Will the immigrant, the person of color, the person who has a physical or mental disability, will the person who is gay or lesbian or transgendered, the person going through a divorce, or wishing they could conceive a child, or struggling with depression, or frankly just struggling with life, because life gives us plenty on its own, will these people feel welcome? And if not, how can we change as individuals, as groups, as systems, to make that welcome so? Those are the questions that face us as individuals, for this faith community, and beyond. And they're not questions I, as your pastor, can give simple, short answers to. For one, I've only been here 6 months, so I don't know all the answers about us as a church, either the short ones or the long, more complicated ones. And obviously, I'm not in all the places that we as a collective are, because I'm only me, I'm not you. But we're called in all of those places to ask those questions of welcome, because they're important and they're matter. Because God dreams for us all a place of welcome for ourselves and for those we've not even yet met, where all can come and know they are embraced by God, embraced by us, where all can come and know God's love, just as they are. Throughout the musical, people of small-town Indiana, just like us, come to realize that Emma wants the same things they all want: to dance with the person she loves at the prom, to have friends in high school and dream about what comes next, to simply be herself in all of its complicated and wonderful ways. And as they come to realize this, they do indeed build a prom for all people, a town for all people, a place for all people. It's a glorious vision, one I hope we will keep pursuing and striving to do. Let us work every day to build that prom for everyone, to build that community for everyone, to build that new heaven and new earth where all are welcomed by their Creator, to build a place for all. Amen.